Look at this split-screen map. On the left side, the location of the supplier and the place of supply are within the exact same state border. This triggers CGST and SGST. But on the right, crossing a state line changes it to a federal IGST. Geography dictates the tax. To navigate this, we use three terms: LOS, location of supplier; LOR, location of recipient; and POS, place of supply. Correctly identifying the POS is the only way to ensure the correct tax is applied to a transaction. Let's start with the baseline rules for physical goods. When an item requires transportation, the law looks at where the journey ends. Wherever movement terminates for delivery, that becomes your place of supply. If goods don't require movement, like buying off the shelf, the POS is where those goods are made available to the buyer. For international trade, the logic is direct. If you import goods, the POS is the importer's location inside India. If you export them, the POS is the destination outside India. For basic physical goods, the task follows the physical item to its final destination. This diagram maps out a three-node transaction. A buyer purchases goods from a supplier, but instructs that supplier to deliver the items directly to a different party. Relying on the physical delivery destination here will result in an incorrect tax calculation. The law deems the goods to be received by the person who gave the instruction. The true POS is the principal place of business of that third-party buyer. In complex supply chains, the invoice instruction takes precedence over the physical shipping route. Services are intangible. Because we cannot track a delivery truck, Section 12 establishes a specific test. This flowchart illustrates the necessary first step, identifying if the recipient is registered under GST. If the recipient is registered, the POS is exactly their location. If unregistered, we check for an address on record. If one exists, the POS is the location of the recipient. If not, it defaults back to the location of the supplier. This registration check is the critical step because it determines which secondary rule you must follow. Certain services ignore the general registration rule. If the service relates to a movable property or requires physical performance, like a restaurant meal or a gym session, the POS is tied to the physical location of the act itself. For example, an unregistered tourist from Mumbai attends a training seminar in Delhi. Based on the performance rule, determine the place of supply. The answer is Delhi. Training is a performance-based service, so the POS is the location where the training actually occurred. Under Section 13, for international services where one party is outside India, the domestic registration test is no longer used. The general rule defaults to the location of the recipient, but specific exceptions for immovable property and physical performance still apply regardless of national borders. For services involving physical property or in-person execution, the ground where action occurs determines the tax. Consider an online information access scenario. An Indian supplier provides services to an unregistered customer. The billing address is in India, but the IP address used is in the UK. To solve the contradiction between the physical IP and the billing address, we check the legal conditions for OIDAR services. Meeting just one condition, the Indian billing address, satisfies the legal requirement to locate the recipient in India. The place of supply is India. Applying the specific legal conditions resolves the conflicting data. This grid organizes the logic for both goods and services. It identifies the baseline terms, the rules for physical delivery, and the branching logic for domestic services and their exceptions. Always verify the registration status for Section 12 domestic services before proceeding with the rest of the calculation. Applying this framework systematically provides a reliable method for determining the place of supply in any scenario.